So this was something that I kind of wanted to speak on before, but I happened to be on Instagram and I saw this clip and I'm like, yeah, this is probably a good time. So I wanted to make this video to get everybody else's perspective on this, and go ahead and roll the clip.
Do you think they should teach pride in schools?
Yes. Yeah, we don't condone that.
We don't. How young do you think they should start teaching it?
From right away.
I feel like everybody wants to ignore the fact that sexual activity happens younger than it is.
Yeah.
Everyone's like, yeah, it happens in your
I was
20s.
like 8 when I first started experimenting. Like I was literally
8?
Yes, 8 years old.
You're a victim.
We just raise him just to be, he's a boy. That's what he is. And we tell him about Adam and Eve, and we're Christians as well. So, you know, it's just our values.
So you think it should happen how old?
I would say like 10 years old. Once you hit the double digits, I would say.
Yeah.
Introducing the idea that girls can be with girls, guys can be with guys, not explaining how necessarily, but just when you're young at that age, saying that it's okay.
So me personally, I think that this is extremely dangerous. I understand that other people may have disagreements, but I think that this is a very dangerous thing to do. There is a huge difference between someone older, maybe like 16, 17, being accepted for who they are, and teaching minors it's acceptable to be this way. And I'm not saying that that's not really the debate I'm here to have, whether it's okay for you to be gay, trans, whatever. That's not the debate here. But when you open up that door, especially as an adult, to tell kids about it and introduce it to them and tell them that it's acceptable, that becomes a whole different thing. And the reason is because kids are sponges. And as an adult, if you tell little Johnny, an 8-year-old, hey, it's okay that you like Tim, he might not have ever had that on his mind. That might have been something that never crossed his mind ever. And now you just planted a seed. And what it does is it changes society, whether you guys realize it or not. You know, it's not the same as accepting who you are. I want people to understand what I'm saying. There's a difference between somebody being that way and being accepted and learning to accept who they are and still loving themselves. That is different from introducing it to them and then them possibly being influenced. There's a huge difference, and I want to make that very clear. When you introduce something like that to them at a very young age, it can change the whole outcome of how their life turns out. It's like if you ever seen a movie or a TV show where people have to travel back in time, but they're like, hey, don't touch anything, don't look at anybody the wrong way or do anything. We don't want to change the timeline. That's kind of what you're doing. You're going to their young age and then altering their path that might have not been set for them. You have to understand that. Now, growing up, of course, in my school, we had different people who believed different things, who liked different things, but this was years later. Like, I'm talking about like 14, 15, 16. So at that age, if you're telling them it's okay for them to be who they are, that's perfectly fine. I have no disagreement with that. I have no objections. I am perfectly fine with that. I actually would support it. But when you go back to their childhood and you're introducing the different binaries and, it's okay to be trans and all this stuff. It's like you're influencing people who have no concept of life. 10-year-old kids do not need to be introduced to the million different things that fall under the pride community or the LGBTQ community. There are a million umbrellas, and under those umbrellas, there's a million variations. It's like, why are you even bringing this to them when all they want to do is play with Pokemon and watch SpongeBob? Like, what are you doing, bro? I think that one of the biggest issues is that for some reason, there are a lot of adults who they seek validation. And to get this validation, what they do is they project their ideologies or their beliefs onto kids, and it's like they'll use it as a way to prove their point. I felt this way when I was young, so of course they do too. They know what they're talking about, but these are kids. Your minds change all the time. When I was a kid, I wanted to be an ice cream man. That was my career goals. That was what I wanted to be. I wanted to drive around and give everybody ice cream. I thought that was the coolest thing in the world. Do I want to do that now? No. I wanted to be a Power Ranger. Do I want to do that now? No. Well, I mean, hey, if I was able to, you know what I'm saying? And let me make this clear, like, honestly, I do think that the world is changing around us. There are, pride is a huge thing. The LGBTQ community is a huge part of society, whether you like it or not, it is. And I do think that, let's say there's a class, like a social studies class or something in high school, and they're learning about different things. I honestly wouldn't have a problem with that. If a kid is 16 years old, 17 years old, and they're learning about it in a class that teaches like geography, history, and different social things, I would have no problem with that. But when you're talking about 10-year-olds, that's when I have the problem. Because by the time somebody's 16, 17, they already are exposed to social media and everything about it. So they already know it before they even get in the class. These 10-year-olds, they don't know so much. I mean, I'm not a 10-year-old in 2024, and I don't know how each parent is handling it because every family is different. But I think that it's one of those things where just let the parents decide how they want to go about it. So today's question is a very simple one. Should they teach pride in schools? Please share your opinions down below, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace.